Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 20th of November. Around 190 militants killed in India's Kashmir this year, claims Indian Army. Rohingya refugees continue to arrive at camps in Bangladesh. A Nepal poll panel says women account for 55% candidates in upcoming elections. And now for all the details, a senior Indian Army official on Sunday said that around 190 militants have been killed in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province this year. India accuses Pakistan of arming and infiltrating militants across the border to carry out terror attacks.
The Indian Army on Sunday said that it has killed as many as 190 militants in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province this year. Addressing a joint press conference, police and army officials disclosed that the militants who were killed in encounters this year also included foreigners apart from the local militants.
We have killed about 190 terrorists as on date in 2017. Out of these 190, 80 terrorists are local terrorists and the balance 110 were foreign terrorists. Out of the 110 foreign terrorists, 66 terrorists were killed near the LC while infiltrating.
The Indian Army now looks forward to the various programs initiated by it to bring back the local militants into the mainstream. India accuses Pakistan of training and arming militants and helping them infiltrate across the line of control, a de facto border that divides Kashmir. However, Pakistan denies those allegations.
In news from Pakistan, the Islamabad High Court has granted an extension to evict religious parties on sit-in in capital Islamabad city. Pakistan's Interior Minister Asia Newsline said on Monday. Hardline Islamist parties have been demanding Law Minister's resignation for changes to an electoral oath, what they say amounts to blasphemy.
Pakistan's Interior Minister Asia Newsline on Monday announced an extension granted by the Islamabad High Court in the deadline for the eviction of religious parties sit-in from Islamabad's Faizabad interchange. Pakistan's government had on Friday issued a final warning to members of hardline Islamist parties who have blocked a main road into the capital since last week, disrupting normal life. The protesters have been demanding that the Law Minister Zahid Hamid be sacked for what they term blasphemy. They blame Hamid for changes to an electoral oath that it says amounts to blasphemy. The government puts the issue down to a clerical error. The Interior Minister said the government will implement the court's order to evict the protesters by Saturday using any means necessary with the help of security forces if needed. He assured of holding talks with the religious leaders and finding a solution.
Moving on, pro-freedom Baloch activists have recently intensified their peaceful protest against Pakistan across the globe. The World Baloch Organization has launched an advertising campaign on London billboards to highlight human rights abuses by Pakistani forces in southwestern Balochistan province.
The World Baloch Organization, or WBO, has said the attempts made by Pakistan to thwart its ongoing Free Balochistan campaign will not affect it. Despite attempts by the Pakistan government and Transport for London to censor WBO's advertising campaign, the billboard advertising campaign is going ahead on roadsides all over London. Billboards reading "Raise your voice against human rights abuses in Balochistan" aim to catch the attention of locals, highlighting Pakistan's war crimes and human rights violations in southwestern Balochistan province. The WBO has repeatedly urged the international community to hold Pakistan accountable for its crimes against humanity in Balochistan, including enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings and torture. The WBO claims attempts to highlight the situation in Balochistan have long been repressed. It believes such campaigns can be very effective in highlighting the situation.
Residents in Afghanistan's western Herat province are urging government to rehabilitate historical sites which belong to Jewish people who lived in the country during the 1980s. There are about 4 prayer houses belonging to the ethnic group in the province.
Locals in Afghanistan's western Herat province are urging government to rehabilitate the prayer houses and other historical sites of Jewish people who used to live there during 1980s. Jews came to the country from Iran and lived peacefully with Afghans. They left Afghanistan after the civil war began in 1987 in the country. Residents having good memories with their Jewish neighbors now urge for their heritage maintenance.
یکی دیگه به نام جمشید بود دختر بچه‌های خود ما هم بیزی بودن به کوچه بیزی میکردن خودی هم دیگه برفتم آلینی هم دیگه جای نه هست و خود اینا نیم.
There are about 4 Jewish synagogues or prayer houses and other sites in Herat which belong to Jews. In addition to the synagogues, there is a cemetery of the Jews where they have buried their ancestors. Every year, a number of Herat's Jewish visit the cemetery to rebuild their ancestors' graves.
Moving on to news from Bangladesh, hundreds of Rohingya refugees fleeing violence in Myanmar continue to arrive in camps in Bangladesh on Monday. Their suffering has caused an international outcry, putting pressure on Myanmar government.
More than 100 newly arrived Rohingya refugee families made their way to their new homes in Bangladesh on Monday, ending a journey spanning weeks of fear and danger. The families crossed over the border into Bangladesh around November 17 and walked into the transit camp where they spent a few days recovering from their harrowing journey. International aid agencies have provided the newly arrived refugees with supplies and food to help them with their new life in Baloch camp, which is expanding to accommodate the thousands who arrive every week.
People keep on arriving after the massive influx. We are now servicing several 100,000 people in Balukali Mekshid settlement, the surrounding area, and Kutupalong Mekshid settlement, the registered refugee camp around. So it's a mega site that adds on to different collective sites that are down south on the way to Teknaf.
More than 6 lakh people have fled to neighboring Bangladesh since late August, following a military crackdown in Myanmar's Rakhine province. The military crackdown was prompted after a series of attacks by Rohingya insurgents on security camps.
Women account for 55% of proportional representation candidates in upcoming Nepal polls, according to a final list of candidates by Nepal's Election Commission. Nepal is set to witness provincial and parliamentary elections in 2 phases on November 26th and December 7th.
The number of women candidates in the proportional representation or PR category of the upcoming provincial and parliamentary elections in Nepal has risen to 3,217. According to the final list published by the Election Commission on Sunday, 5,838 candidates are now contesting after few slashed and withdrew their names. In the PR category of the upcoming polls, women are making up 55.1% of the total. There were a total of 6,094 candidates when the party submitted the revised lists on November 3rd after cancellation and withdrawal of candidacies. With the new revision, the number has come down now. Nepal will witness the provincial and parliamentary elections in 2 phases on November 26th and December 7th.
An Indian medical student, Manushi Chiller, was crowned Miss World 2017 at a glitzy event in a Chinese resort on Saturday. The beauty queen broke India's 17-year-old spell at the coveted pageant and became the 6th Indian to win the coveted crown. The last Indian to win the title was actress Priyanka Chopra. Besides Chiller, Andrea Meza of Mexico was declared the first runner-up of the pageant. In 3rd place was Stephanie Hill from England. Contestants from over 100 countries took part in the Miss World beauty pageant. Coming from a family of doctors, Chiller wants to be a cardiac surgeon. Poultry production has improved in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province with the introduction of new breeds of poultry birds and latest infrastructure.
Poultry farm owners in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province can look forward to an increased production and simultaneous rise in their overall income. The credit for the encouraging trend goes to the Poultry Research Centre in Srinagar city, which has introduced new breeds of poultry birds. With the help of the government and veterinary scientists, the Poultry Research Centre has been able to establish poultry with latest infrastructure and better breeds.
बहुत अच्छा लगा है। हैचरी भी स्टार्ट हो गई यहाँ पर। पहले हैचरी नहीं स्टार्ट थी, अब हैचरी भी स्टार्ट हो गई। चिक्स निकाल रहे हैं हम, महाराजा चिक्स हम फार्मरों को दे रहे हैं। बहुत अच्छा लगा है।
डेफिनेटली इससे ऑलरेडी प्रोडक्शन बढ़ गई है और उसका सिंपल इंडिकेशन ये है कि फील्ड में आप देख लीजिए अब कितना ये पॉपुलर हो गया और हमें कितने फ़ोन्स आते हैं और डिमांड आती है कि हमें एनिमल चाहिए, हमें बर्ड चाहिए।
The purpose of the centre is to do new experiments which are aimed at producing good quality chickens to boost the poultry sector in the valley. The new research centre has all types of facilities including latest egg hatching machines with proper heating system, vaccination rooms and chicken feeding rooms.
The annual India International Trade Fair in New Delhi opened its gates for general public on Sunday. The 14-day event aims to promote startup businesses and ventures and is witnessing participation from 22 countries.
The 37th India International Trade Fair or IITF, which is underway in the Indian capital New Delhi, opened for general public on Sunday. The 14-day event, themed on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Startup India initiative, is being held at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi. A total of 3,000 exhibitors and participants from almost 22 countries have put up their pavilions at the annual fair organized by the India Trade Promotion Organization.
अच्छा लग रहा है, हमारे साल आते हैं यहाँ पर, बस थोड़ा इस बार एकदम भीड़ सी लग रही है, जगह छोटी लग रही है। जी एंजॉय तो हम पूरा कर रहे हैं। अभी हम सब गुजरात, ये उड़ीसा और ये केरल, ये सब देख कर आ रहे हैं।
The fair provides a reliable and tested platform to small and medium enterprises, exporters, entrepreneurs and investors. It is the largest integrated trade fair with business-to-business and business-to-consumer components. The fair will conclude on November 27.
Well, that's the way towards in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Around 190 militants killed in India's Kashmir this year, claims Indian Army. Rohingya refugees continue to arrive at camps in Bangladesh. A Nepal poll panel says women account for 55% candidates in upcoming elections. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.